Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we have our family podcast, Big Sam and Nephews, and Nathan. How you doing, Nathan? What's going on, man?
Awesome, man. Awesome.
And I also got a wonderful guest today, Donald Lyle, good friend of mine, old friend of mine from Sacramento, ex-scout, ex-Major League, actually, I'm going to call you a Major League Baseball player because you're Major League as far as I'm concerned. So how you doing, Don?
I'm good. But hey, you want to get it right. Triple A stuck behind the big red machine with Foster in front of me. He wasn't moving.
Right.
There was no free agent back in my day.
Right.
When you left, I see Nathan in there. Nathan's an old homeboy. Hey, Nathan.
Hey,
Right.
Don.
I ain't long time. His mom and my mom was good friends.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, around the corner from me.
Wow. See, that's all right. See?
Small world,
Wow.
Sacramento. You know that.
Well, I've probably known you most of my life,
11
really.
11 years old.
Yes, we were 11 years old, right? Played
Yeah,
Pop
we
Warner
were 11.
football together, and that was an experience too, because we were talking about that too. I remember I talked to Thad Archie this summer, and I was telling him, he said, "Oh man, I'm so glad you sent me the picture." I said, "Thank Don Lyle." I said, "I would never have known." I said, "You sent me that photo, which is fantastic." I said, because, that just brought back memories because, back in the day, I was telling Javier, I said, it was 200 kids, at least 200 kids came out for the football team, for Pop Warner football. At least, and I'm not exaggerating, there were at least 200, 250 kids that come out for that football team every year. Every year.
Competition was stiff.
Oh, it was. It really was. But I had fun,
But you want to know something now? Now knowing what I know, I wouldn't let my kid play football under the age of sophomore in high school.
Right.
Because my back is what killed me in baseball. I would wait till the kid is 10th grade and let him play flag. I know it made it tougher, but for me to have my bad back for all my years and all my leg problems,
Right.
and I be telling people, you should have your kid play all the sports. But that hitting, especially the way we used to hit, it's unlawful now to hit like we did. And the people that was watching over us, but we thought it was okay because you had a helmet, but it really wasn't.
Well, that was back in the day, and it was old school. They probably didn't know any better either because, again,
no, they didn't.
They learned what they got taught. Right.
Yeah.
So, but I tell you what, it made us tough. It made us tough individuals.
It did.
It made us tough individuals.
It did. But hey, a lot of pain came with it.
Oh, it did.
Because I didn't have my surgery until 1986. So for when the doctor had me on the table, he was like, before he put me down, he goes, when I got up, he said, "Hey, we had to work 6 hours on your back, and we thought we was going to do like 2.5." He goes, "How'd you ever play ball like that?" I said, "Believe me, it was tough. I felt like I had one hand behind my back. I mean, and seriously, it was that bad from, pulling muscles every time I would get going good. July come around, pop. I mean, it wasn't like, it was horrible. So that's why I said, when I look back at bodies, and everybody, no matter what sport you play, I always tell guys, they go, "Hey, what's the best way to get into the big leagues?" I said, "Stay healthy."
Right.
No matter what sport you're in, you have to be healthy. If you're not healthy, you don't do team any service.
Right.
So that's the reason why I said that. I love football.
Oh yeah, I love football too. Yeah, it's funny because I played all three of the sports too. But again, the difference was, I went to Johnson High School, and that was back then. That was a preppy high school, right? It was not, it wasn't like Sacramento High School,
right?
But you all had all the athletes, all of them.
Yeah.
It wasn't just football. Yeah, I was telling somebody, I said, you know what? I told Danny one time, I was talking to Danny on the phone, I lived in Minneapolis. I said, "Danny, do the math. We play you twice in football a year, right? Sophomore year, twice in football, twice in baseball, And then twice, yes, that's six. That's 6 losses a year right there alone. Yeah. So anyway, you time that time, right. And I said I'm not, I tried to run track, but I wasn't fast enough. But even that, but I'm saying is that's 18 losses a year against Sacramento High School. 18.
Yeah.
I'm just counting. It ain't like I'm tripping. I'm just counting. But it just, y'all had better athletes, period. No doubt about it, just the way it was. And, you couldn't, I think it was the district you guys lived in, because in that time I lived in the Flats, and that was kind of more Hispanic, a few blacks, but mostly Hispanic, folks in that neighborhood. And then, and then like I played Little League, I was like the first black kid to play Little League baseball at Fruit Ridge Little League.
Yeah, I remember going over there. But you know what? You got to remember though, Sac High was the oldest school on this side of the Mississippi River.
Right.
So that was number one, and then number two. I mean, for a lot of reasons, it was the center of Sacramento. And then once they got McClatchy, everybody was at McClatchy or Sac High until they started going to other schools like Johnson and the rest of them, like Grant and Burbank and all those. Because, like I said, I live kind of like where Burbank is at now. And I remember when we used to come to Florin Road, there was nothing but weeds out here. There was nothing on the street.
That's true. I mean, he's not lying, right? Because
now it's everything. So but Sac did have that, and that's why they were the oldest. But a lot of great athletes came out of there, and they all sports, everything. From Kevin Johnson and them to basketball, and even though Jerry was a baseball player, I always said, even though Manuel I ranked up there pretty high because I was on this one board, Royster still is probably like the best all-around athlete, him and Dusty, that I've seen during that era. Right.
I would have to agree with you also.
Even though when he got to the pros in the major leagues, he still played his 15 years, but I'm talking about he didn't dominate it like what Judge is doing or something. But if you'd have seen him, 5'11", weighing 165 pounds, I remember he scored 70 points against you guys at Johnson, Henny, and McCoy in basketball.
I saw that game.
I always tell people.
Yeah, we had a 7-footer on the team.
2 7-footers, McCoy and Henny.
Right.
One was 17, one was 7'1".
Right. And then we had a 6'9" power forward. Yeah. But again, like we were soft. We just weren't tough. And that's.
But you had a good baseball team. Some of the baseball teams was good. The Force brothers and them. You had
Bob and Kim.
Guys. You came out with a couple guys. I remember Matt.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yeah, there was some decent. I remember I went to Will C. Wood. I remember we'd have to walk to school every day, and we'd see Bob and Ken Force. Their dad had a pitching, like a whole cage in the back. You would see it right from the street, right for them. And that was they were pitchers, and that was like and both of those guys didn't play in pro baseball, but there's not a reason why they wouldn't, But again, we didn't have the same luxury that they had, coming up. But I think part of the situation is that we just the economic times, and then your dad worked like a mule, or my dad worked like a mule, not one but 2 jobs, and then when he'd come home, he would, sometimes he'd play with us, and but a lot of times it'd be dark. I tell people all the time, my mother would be out there pitching to us and catching and whatnot, turn up the yard and stuff like that. I said, so that's just how that is.
Were you talking about Taylor Duncan? At one point, he was the highest rated prospect coming out, which he was bad. So is that what you're talking about?
Taylor was Taylor was 2 years in front of me. He was with Jerry and then Royston and then Rowan. And he was, but like I said, since I did that for so many years, ranking prospects and being the guy is 2 different things. You know what I mean? When you in high school, we had some dudes that were like supposed to be all this, but then like Judge, okay, let's just go. Here's your guy that you're talking about who I was texting his daddy the other day, but he was unknown. I mean, he didn't even know who Dave Winfield and Derek Lee was.
Wow.
And you know, out of high school, I asked when I worked him out, me and the brother who's dead now, we worked out Judge first. Nobody, we had him at an area code. But my point is, and that's why when I used to have the speeches to the little kids at the area codes that we have every year down in Long Beach, you know, we bring in all these kids from all over the country, the best of the best. And I always tell them, hey, somebody's gonna play in the big leagues, why not you? And if I start naming all the kids who got to the big leagues that nobody thought was gonna be in the big leagues, and then the ones who we thought was gonna be in the big leagues didn't turn out to be big leagues, is unbelievable. You know, and that's why I always tell kids, like, hey, dream on, don't let nobody crack your dream. Because when Judge, when we cut him off the area code team, and then in high school, the 4-year schools didn't even want to give him a scholarship, and then me and another guy had to beg as I could. I mean, that's how he got to Fresno State. Once they seen it, then they were all in. But at the beginning, they didn't see it. You know what I mean? And so now you have, here he is, and now here he is gonna get $400 million.
Right. He's got, you know, and the thing about it is he bet on himself, is what he did. He bet on himself, had a great year, tied Roger Maris, you know, for the home run record now. But, you know, again, people are going to say, well, you know, Barry Bonds, I'll listen to Coach Shooting.
Most would say Barry's a better hitter than Judge, but this home run record is legit on his side. So there's going to be enough of people, especially, and the good part is he ended up breaking Ruth's record in time where they wasn't going to throw that in his face too, on some of the stats. I heard, so here's one stat for you that's pretty good. I heard on MLB. They said Ruth broke the 60 home run record when he hit the home run. He faced 67 pitchers. And when he hit 60, faced 257. That just show you the whole game was different. 257 throwing 100 miles and 98 to 100. And Ruth was facing guys throwing like us in high school.
Right.
You got me?
And so that's a wonder.
Traveling across the street, all that stuff.
And Ruth didn't ever go past, he didn't go past a certain level, they said too. On the train, he always had his own train.
What do you guys think, reference Judge? Because the rumor is now that the season is basically over, the regular season, Giants are out of it. Now, all the newspapers and half of the sports writers are saying they think Judge is coming out here to play in San Francisco.
Well, there's some San Francisco. Oh yeah, they're gonna. He's from Linden.
Well, the question is this. You know, I will believe that. Only my statement is this: I believe that when I see it in the litmus test reference. You know, my supposition is that the Yankees have only ever, that I can remember, lost one guy that they wanted to keep. That was Robinson Cano, because Seattle threw like an extra $50 million his way, which I just think you can't outbid the Yankees. I don't know.
I'm agreeing with you. I don't think he's gonna leave.
I don't think that it would be healthy, financially healthy, to try to outbid the Yanks.
Right. But hey, look, San Francisco Stadium is paid for, and they got all the money in the world, as much as the Yankees got right now. But I don't think Judge is gonna leave that prestige, you know, being in that pinstripe his whole career. And look at the guys we just talking about, Maris, Ruth, and Judge. Well, why would you leave and tarnish it and go like Barry I mean, I know why Barry came out here, but you know what I'm saying? If he was at the Yankees, Barry probably would have signed too, just because it's the Yankees. So I agree. I don't think it's gonna happen, but they are gonna put money at him. Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, we've got off the books.
Yeah, I would be shocked if he did. You know, but again, I'm not a betting man. But I think he kept talking about maybe the Dodgers, perhaps. But I thought, nah, not the Dodgers. Dodgers are pretty much. Dodgers got money to throw at you, but not like the Yankees. The Yankees got long money.
Yeah, the TV rights. But it's still about the prestige. Put it like this: if you was gonna make $400 million to $380 million, then you're gonna be in the iconic of the Yankees. I mean, what would you have done? You wouldn't just come back to, California just because it's close to home. His home is wherever he's at, like all baseball players do. He can get on that plane. He can get on that plane and be from New York to here in 6.5 hours if that was the case, but that ain't the case. So no. I don't think it's legit either, though.
No. I think Cassius probably didn't want to pay them, and actually it was Judge.
That's right.
That they called off the negotiations. I'm done. I want to play the season, but Judge paid. He bet on himself that he was going to have a wonderful season, and he had. No one thought that he was going to have the season that he had.
Right.
They didn't, but he did.
Well, the reason why they thought he was going to end up hurt like he did, he got hurt with little nagging injuries. They wasn't like big things. They were like getting hit with a ball, pulling muscles, but they all do count. And I understand that because, like I said, you got to be on the field. But he made sure he monitored himself, and he's used to it now. I always thought when Judge got to get 2,000 at bat under his belt, which is where he's at right now, he's going to be this really special hitter. Somebody texted me from my office the other day and said, "You always say you're going to be the best big man you ever seen." And see, now it holds weight because it is, at the time, when the papers called me and wanted to ask me about Judge, being from this area and all this stuff, I said, look, if you knew me for 30 years, and I'll say it to you too, Sam, if you've been knowing me all these years, but one day I told you I've seen a Martian, you'd be like, damn, what Don drinking? What's going on?
I wouldn't have any reason to doubt.
When I was telling people, this dude, man, is special. I ain't never seen nobody hit balls, which now everybody got a glimpse. But in college, we didn't see it. The only reason I happened to go to a practice one day with two big wigs in there, and I asked him, Aaron, hit the ball as hard as you can out of this fence because the Yankees ex-guy named Henry, he was with the Cubs, and then my old scouting director, Kevin Towers. There were two people in the stadium who had clout. Nobody else but me. No other scout was there because we were all at another game. Got it? So when he walked by me, I told the coach, Mike Basso, I say, Mike, let me say something to Aaron. He goes, go ahead, Don. I said, Aaron, hit this ball as far as you can. Don't do none of the stuff I've been telling you about staying up the middle. And man, he started hitting these balls. Well, you know where Fresno State is now, right? They were going out there in the street, man, from the baseball field. And I was looking, going, dang. And then right then I was shocked. And then I got on the phone, called. They said, no, we got it down. We got it. I said, I'm telling you, I'm seeing things I ain't never. Hey, we shagged ball for the Big Red Machine with Bench and Griffey and Morgan and Tony Perez. I said, hey, they were great. They couldn't hit the ball this far. And that's all I was making a statement. But now, now everybody see the alien. Got it? That's what I tell them now.
The Martian has arrived. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's what it is. He here now. So now I don't have to scare everybody and make them dream, but that's what he done. But that was the story about how when you see something that.
So I heard somebody say it was Joe Morgan who said that reference the Big Red Machine, that he felt like Griffey Sr. was the best athlete on the Big Red Machine. And the way he quantified it is that, you know what, speaking of pure athlete, if you took a tennis ball and a tennis racket and put all 6 of these guys on a tennis court, Griffey would probably beat everybody. Joe Morgan said, most natural athlete. What do you think?
I think so. I mean, he was a great athlete because he wasn't like a pure baseball. He was baseball, but he was. Right. He could run. He got power. He could throw. Yeah, I agree. But and then look, and then his wife, when she had little Griff, because he was only a baby when we were shagging, and look what we come up with. So I would agree with that. Yeah. Those guys was baseball players, and like I said, Joe couldn't really throw. Everybody had their flaws, but Griffey really didn't have a flaw. He just had to get his game to that next level, which he kept doing. I mean, he hit a lot of balls with one hand. I mean, there was a lot of conflict with us in the minor leagues, like, hey, which hand is the home run hand? Because Griffey would let go of the bat one hand, and then the ball still go out the ballpark. Now he didn't have the power like Tony Perez and Foster and them, but it still was enough that made you wonder, like, okay, what hand? Because there was no videos then, you know what I mean? You know, these guys now, they go right they go to the plate, and then before they strike out or hit a home run, they get to go watch that stuff on their little pad, and they can see their mistakes. So I would say the better, more educated players were the ones in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, because in the 80s, we started to get a tape recorder, but you couldn't do it in a game like now, but at least you could see yourself.
Yeah, now you can do
somebody,
it.
Trying to make somebody see what you're trying to tell them. You know, like most people say, keep your head in, keep your head in. Well, they don't believe that they're pulling their head out, but if they see it on video, then they go, oh, you see what I'm saying? And so there's a much faster learning curve now than they did. To me, I think personally, the best players was 60s and 70s.
Now, do you think that Fernando Tatis, he'll come back next year, and of course his story is sketchy.
It's tainted. It's tainted.
Right.
And so was his daddy, because I scouted his daddy when he was 18.
Dang.
You got it? I mean, look, I signed guys too. Everybody, and why wouldn't you? I mean, if you ever got that list that has all the names on it, you wouldn't even have a conversation about who was on it and who wasn't. So that's why a lot of the older times guys who were before 80s kind of, you know, they don't feel right because they knew they didn't have that. Now, a lot of them took bennies and black beauties and greenies. So they had a lot of stuff too, but not like what they said with the taking the steroid era stuff, because that did make you heal faster. You know, when you tired and you trying to get up the next hit, it's a big difference.
But the thing is, and I keep saying this, and I'll say it to the day I die, Don, baseball was so hypocritical because they didn't outlaw it back, back then. But of course, then they honored the home run. They were, back in Oakland, back when Canseco and McGuire played with the Oakland A's. Right.
They were giving them juice.
Right. And
they wanted to bring the game back. The game was really suffering because of the strike the previous year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And not just the strike, but that they
didn't play the World Series. A lot of teams
burned up about having not played the World Series.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was a big thing. Yeah, you're right about that one. It was like, wait, no baseball? And I remember, just being down here. And I'm not a I am a baseball fan, but I'm not like a super, I'm watching the Braves now, but I'm not a big super baseball fan until the end of the season when it gets good.
I got you.
But, you start watching that, I'm like, wait, no World Series? Because that's that
the payoff.
Yeah, that's nip tuck time. That's when, the at-bats is crucial from the first inning all the way out to the ninth inning. Everything is, it's nip tuck time. So I was like, man, that's kind of messed up. But, I think baseball is back now. I like watching it. I watch probably half the season now. So,
all right. Question for the group. Okay. And most of you know. Okay. I'm a teacher. I'm a school teacher, right? And so I just don't see kids playing baseball. They just don't play baseball like we used to. They just don't. They play football, or video games.
Did you hear what Dion said? Did you see that what Dion put on online, which is the truth, which we all say the reason why, there's a couple of reasons, which I've always preached, is baseball is kind of a fatherly thing, connection. Being that we played basketball and football, you didn't need no father out there. But baseball has this little thing that when they did this survey on black players who got to the big leagues, like 89% of them had a father involved. Look, my dad couldn't catch me playing catch, but just the fact that he came through there, like almost all the people I knew who were playing baseball, And especially back in there, you gotta remember, like when you're talking about the 40s and 50s, baseball was the number one sport. When you went to those black Negro League games, they were full. And so everybody on a Sunday would get dressed up to go to games. So at one time, look, it was all because of options, yes. You know, like I always tell the kids, the more options you got, the better your life is going to be. And once we got open to basketball and football, it let kids have another option. And then when Major League Baseball said, what they didn't do on purpose, I believe, and I had a lot of friends who didn't want to play no baseball no more because they thought it was so racially overtoned, which it had its issues for sure. But my point is, once they got the Dominican to play, and look, somebody told me this long in 1974. He said, black players, and there's a lot of people who know this statement. Black players are better than Dominicans because you guys are bigger and stronger. But look, once that steroid came in, and the black player then was running off to play football and playing basketball, he was substituted totally. And really, if the black player was playing this league again, he could still do what he did. But he don't need to because he'd rather do what Deion said. Deion said, the reason why, and Deion played, we were young, remember? And then just like Bo Jackson. But he said the reason why they don't play this because there ain't no girls watching the game and they want that highlight.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
If
you go to Oakland, if you go to Oakland and watch games, I'm gonna tell you what happens. At Oakland high schools in there, Scouting in there, Richmond, all those, they have these real high backboards where, you know, when you stand behind home plate, as a fan, they don't want you behind there. So they make it real high. So the kids can't come and be talking stuff to you. You got me? And look, at all the other schools, it ain't an issue. And I always tell dudes, I go, hey, you know, when you play baseball, and just what you're saying, Marlon, is one of the main reasons a lot of kids don't play baseball because they can't throw. Because guess what? In order to throw, you have to learn these techniques when you're young, so you keep on throwing, your arm gets better. If you become a high school player and you're black and you can't throw, you kind of get laughed at like a girl. But you don't have to get laughed at when you go out on that basketball court or that football field. So your baseball, you stand out there like a sore thumb to everybody on both sides watching your game. Because I tell them all the time, throwing is the first thing you should learn. The hitting is your last thing, because that comes last. You throw and catch, and that's why when you get a camp here in Sacramento, I mean, if I name off all the black kids who got to the big league, 90% of them could throw. But we call throw average. Average is a 5, the way we rank guys. You got it?
Right.
2 to 8. 5 is average, 6 is better. Barry Bonds had like a 35, but he could do everything else at 8.
Right. But Barry didn't have an arm either.
Who?
Barry Bonds didn't have an arm.
No, he had 35 arm, but then his brother and his daddy had 70 arms.
Right.
But, you know, when we signed his brother, me and a guy named Larry Harper, when we was the Padre, he looked just like his daddy, Barry Sr. Could run, had power. I was trying to catch his ball, throwing him from the outfield, man, like he was throwing off the mound to me. So he had a great arm, but he just didn't have what Barry had. Barry was a baseball player. Right. Barry knew how to get rid of that ball.
Bonds had a very, very, probably not even average arm, but he's the best.
It wasn't average. It wasn't average.
He's the best left fielder I've ever seen. He was like a shortstop in left field. He's the best I've ever seen in left field. Yep.
Well, I think there's definitely nobody pretty much argue. I just got him all them years. Barry was exceptional. And I watched when he hit the 74 and I watched the 71, and I'm telling you, up in Houston, and it was amazing. Barry would get one pitch only. And I don't care if you're on stuff or not, the ball might go farther. And they did have some talk about it does make you recoup, you know, and it does make you more in tune, just like taking bennies, make you stay up, you know, or caffeine. So it does help you, but he still was probably the best hitter that I ever seen, just pure hitter.
Right.
Yeah.
It was good.
Watching them from young to older, like I say, when I saw him young in Pittsburgh, you know, he's some skinny little kid. You know, he wasn't skinny, but compared to, you know, baseball players wasn't big. I mean, he probably had Canseco, McGuire that was yanked up, but everybody else was pretty much 165, 170, 180.
Right.
And this guy I was like, man, this dude hits the ball out the park with ease. Just like Ken Griffey, that sweet stroke. Paul Molitor, all these guys, you know what I'm saying? You start talking about people who could hit. But man, I was like, man, this dude got power. He could run, he could do everything that was asked of him. Fundamentally sound, all of these things that you needed to be. And then he got older, and it's like, man, yeah, like you said, he only got one pitch.
That's all you really get.
Yeah, and you knocking it out. And yeah, I was like, man. So yeah, it was a joy to watch.
Well, we have a pro on the line, so I want to ask you this while you're here. Okay, two-part questions. I'll be quick. All right, number one.
I ain't going nowhere.
All right. It said, everybody says that a left-handed swing is just more
fluid. It is.
More, but if you break them down mechanically, it's the same as a right-handed swing, but just for some reason the lefty looks better. That's question number one. I want to hear your comment on that. Okay. Question number two. Yeah. I saw a picture of the Say Hey kid, my favorite all-time. I think the best player there ever was. Okay. Now, my theory, I want to see who you think is the best player ever. Now, my theory is that had he not missed 2 prime years due to conscription, being drafted, and not had to play his home games in 2 of the most difficult parks to go deep out of,
Candlestick Park,
150, maybe 200 home runs, that dude would hit 850 to 900 home runs, 2,500 RBIs, 27, there's 4,000 hits. I mean, and when you look at it like that, and you compare his numbers to everybody else's, and factor in his defense, that cost him 2. He would have won 14 Gold Gloves in center field. I think it's not even close to who the best all-around player was. What do you think, Don?
Well, let me first give you the scenario on the left-handed hitter, because we talk about this a lot. And I used to be one of the first guys that did video in '92. Is before it became mandatory. And when I used to go home, I used to, often used to flip them around and watch a right-hander or a left-hander. When you put them on the TV backwards or look through them in the mirror, they look like they're the opposite. So I used to look at it and go, why do lefties just look better? But let me just tell you why the left-hander is a more fluid swing, and it'll make sense to you. If all of a sudden, every time you got in front of me, and I'm gonna use a girlfriend, okay, so it won't be me, and you thought she was gonna slap you, you would flinch. You got it, right? Let's say she hit you one time. Let's say you had a girlfriend and she slapped you one time in the face, and then every time she raised her hand, you would flinch because you thought she was getting ready to hit you again, right?
Right.
Now, just from that action right there is how it is to a right-hander to a lefty, because look, once you are left-handed and you're facing 90% right-handed guys,
right,
the ball has to come through past both of your eyes, the way you're tracking. That's why in the 70s, when you had those guys start turning, doing the open stance, before that, nobody did open stance. I think it was Brian Downing or one of them guys, one of the Downing, Al Downing. One Downing, I remember his last name was Downing. He was like the first guy for the Angels I remember who should do the open stance.
Brian Downing.
Then everybody started like trying to get both eyes on the pitcher. And what happened is when you have the ball crossing your path, where both eyes get it. I just got my surgery done on my eye, and I'm getting ready to do the next one in November 7th. I had a cataract, but they ended up putting a lens in my right eye, Sam. My eyes, man, is like probably Roberto Clemente, now my boy Pete Rose, Carew. Those guys had 2015 vision, 2010 vision. You can't be this outstanding hitter without having great vision, because what happens is you slow everything down. You got it? And that's why people who in baseball, they get in that motion that they say they're slowing the game down. If you can't slow the game down, you can't really be great, I don't think. So when you have this ball that's coming across for you, going back to the right hand, left hand versus each other, when the ball crosses your path as a right-handed hitter and is left-handed, he gonna smash it. Because no way, you don't have to worry about, he don't have to feel this tendency that the slider's coming next, that slap or that curveball that's gonna slap you. You got me? Compared to when you're left-handed, you're always seeing that. So what happens is you get comfortable. So we used to have like Jimmy Rollins, when Jimmy and guys, people would come in and go see Jimmy out there in Sanel when he used to play, and it'd be scouts from all over the country coming in, and they would say, "Hey, who's a little dude, he's doing this and that." But I always try to tell him, he's playing on a rough field. This field is going to bounce up, and look, if you young and you get hit in the face with a ball one time, good, it kind of leaves a mark in your mind that your teeth might be gone the next time. So you don't look as smooth as you do once you get on those pro fields. And when Jimmy got out on those pro fields, after being on them tough fields, the game was so easy for him. So the same thing with that, right, Marlow, with that right hand, left hand. You just get comfortable not having to worry about this pitch that's going to do you in, because that slider is what did me in and many others that's sitting there. The fastball couldn't really get by me. You know, we had some of the hardest guys throwing. You couldn't throw the fastball by me. It had to be the breaking ball. And like my doctor said, man, if you'd have had another eye, which I got now, it would have made a big difference. So those are the swing part of just being comfortable and not worrying about you got this crazy guy who's gonna hit you in the face or whatever it may be. Now, as far as best, I go Mays, like they say, top five.
I had a girlfriend with an extra good pair of hands. I'm trying to forget about her.
Well, that's what I mean. But look, if you knew she was crazy, you knew when she raised her hand, she might do that, dude, okay? And that's what every hitter in that box. Because look, I can tell you this: every hitter getting that box has a fear factor. Now, when you throw 95 above, your brain don't even register the ball, man. Nope. It's proven on my site. You see, baseball players are the best in guesstimates. They can see the arm, the release, and they know something is different, and they duck. But the pitch, they actually don't get a glimpse of it till the last, like, maybe 5 feet. And they don't really see it. It's just something is there. And when you understand that, now look, these guys are throwing 103 now, 101. It's like pop, pop. So you are really hitting from your conscious mind of how it is. So baseball is definitely the hardest sport to ever tame. And that's why I always tell somebody, look at this real quick. So going to Mays and anybody else. Sam, when he was young, could maybe go to the big leagues and get 1.5 hits off the big leagues out of every 10. I could go up there and probably hit 2.5 hits out of every 10. And then a major leaguer can go and hit 3 out of 10, and he's a millionaire for the rest of his life. And when you break it down like that, you can see how difficult it is. Only thing you have to do out of every 10 times is squeeze out this one little hit, or look, 7/10 of a hit, and you would be great. Because if you can hit 270, you're gonna be in the big leagues.
Right.
You know what I mean? And look, now I've never seen where you got so many guys now who are, if you look at the major league hitting averages, there's more guys under 250 you ever seen in your life, because they are using all this other stuff. So the greatest top 5, Mays. I'm a big Aaron person. Aaron could do everything Mays could do. Got it? Now, he did hit in the park that was a little bit more difficult, but Aaron could do everything that Mays could do, and Mays know that, and so could Clemente. And so, I mean, who would be the fourth guy I would throw in that? Now, Mickey Mantle could do everything, but, you know, to me, that era of baseball, to the ones who can say all that, that's why I said the 60s, the 70s, and 80s. Once you got it integrated really where everybody was getting a full chance, that's when I think baseball was at its best for me.
Right.
You know, you had old Dominicans coming, you had everybody, you know, all together merging. What you got now, but the baseball is just tarnished right now with the swing and trying to learn how to just play baseball. So it's all about hit for power, and you know. So Mays definitely was, but Mays struck out a lot though. If you go back and look, it's kind of like how Judge he had more tools than Judge. But you know, you got to look at what Judge is doing this year, because now everything has changed, and they're using these different metrics, and these metrics to a lot of those players back then wouldn't even be as high as Judge. But you couldn't say Judge is better than them because they could do all these other things but they ain't never been a person 6'7", 280 playing baseball. Just to play football right now today and be 99% bigger than any man playing football. Ain't that trip?
Right. I believe that.
I mean, so when you look at it like that, it's kind of like, so eras of eras and kind of keep them separate a little bit, Marlow. I kind of go like periods of 20 years, like those 5 guys I said was the best of the 60s for sure.
But the measures will do.
All right, so you had Mays, Aaron, Mickey Mantle.
And I said Roberto
Clemente was good. I think Trout might make it to the list if he stays healthy.
He won't, but he already. But here's one thing too. He, just a little bit tidbit to it. I seen him when he was a high school kid, and he just like you said about Barry Bonds, young to old, it's unbelievable. And he gets to take some certain kind of steroids for his body because he has some kind of problem that he had. And so what is that? I don't know, but I know when he was a youngster, or like all of us when we were little, it's a different body than now, just like Barry. And it's been circulated, you know, whatever it is he gets to take legally. So it's not like he's doing a performance type of thing. You know what I mean? He's great. He's great. He's definitely great in this era here. This era. You know?
Yeah.
I would have to put Barry Bonds in my top 5.
Oh yeah, I would too. Yeah, I would. But that was my 80s guys. You got it? That's why I said I go era to era. That 60s to 80s, and then 80s to 2000, and now the 2000 to where we are now. It's just a different era. Those guys didn't face 100. Look, you gotta remember, those guys didn't face what they're facing now. This stuff is crazy, man. You got it? Well, they might not know the game. They might not know the game. They can't pitch, but that velocity still is. One of the coaches always tell me, 2 ways to beat a man. You can beat him by tricking him, or you can beat him by speed. And it's the game now is about speed.
Right.
Right.
And you know, and the analytics is not going to go anywhere. The analytics is here to stay. And you can go against it if you like. As a matter of fact, I met a girl at the ballpark at the end of the game and everything, and I said, "What do you do?" She said, "No, I'm an analytics girl." I said, "The analytics girl?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Okay." She's right in the dugout with the team. I said, "All right."
There's a lot of girls doing that now.
Right.
Everybody. I mean, you got a GM in baseball. You got physical therapists. They in the room.
Right.
Which I never really cared, but that's the way it is now.
Right. Yeah. Because I know the girl that works the players out. I'm just a baseball geek. I don't care. I go really early, 2 hours early, just eat my lunch and watch him. And the girl comes out and she works him out. You know, has him. If you're injured, she'll work out and see if you can run that day or whatever, and say yes or no, and then that's it. And so, and then that's I think it's great, you know, because women are just as entitled to understand and play and be about this game too.
Sure.
Oh yeah. But I still disagree about going in the locker room. Like I said, they had it when they first started, where they had to get the guys to stay dressed for a while to answer any questions. But now I don't think that even exists no more. You know, the guy went into a girls' all tennis room with Venus and them while they getting dressed. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You right. All this stuff to them. Yeah, nah, you're right though.
Are we looking for time?
Yeah, we got like 5 minutes on.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, so okay, awesome. That's a good list.
Yeah,
I don't know
to say.
He had the power that Mays and Aaron had. I also don't know that Aaron was the same ball hawk that Mays was. That's why Aaron played right field, Mays played left field. But that era also produced guys like Frank Robinson, who was not quite as athletic as some of those other guys.
He was great. He was great.
Oh, he was tremendous. Dude could hit.
I got his ball in here. 500 home run ball.
How'd you end up with it?
Wow.
At an auction.
Okay.
I had Guerrero. I still got Guerrero's ball. The daddy went $20. I got a few, but I never did. Like all those guys, Andrew Jones and them. They were young. I should have just made them all signed, but I never did. I never was big in that. You know, Pete and them. I gave Johnny Bench away, but I always, you know, I admired those guys, but I wasn't like starstruck with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you see it daily, you kind of just go, "Oh man, he's good," but you don't go, "Oh," like you know, some fans are, and that's in any sport, I think, because a man is a man, a policeman is a policeman. You know, everybody's just a man.
Right.
You know, some people used to do some stuff. You know, I got some guys who are really, really smart, and I'm like, dang, how can you do that? But everybody got their little niche
in life. I gotta end this, man. I gotta Don. Go ahead, Nathan.
Should Pete be in the Hall of Fame?
Yep.
Should be.
But look, because they said don't do it, I'm talking about his talent, but because he broke the rules, no. But because his talent, yes.
Right.
You know, if you ask me if it wasn't for him betting, even though he never supposed to bet against his team, but still, and when you first start off, the first thing they tell you is no gambling. You know, betting on teams. So he did that.
Right.
Here's how I'd like to. Here's the other side of that. All right. If a guy was, you know, the all-time hit leader or the all-time home run leader, but he was an alcoholic, and so he drank during the games, or maybe even something a little bit worse, maybe he cocaine during the games, right? Based on addiction, would you put him in the Hall of Fame?
If he didn't gamble, yeah, because they did that.
Okay.
All of them did that.
Thank you for the segue.
Yeah.
They're all addiction based, right?
That's right.
You have gamblers who are in the Hall of Fame. Mickey Cochran from the Detroit Tigers, right?
Yep.
Right.
Cobb had to bail him out a whole bunch. Ty Cobb was not the most tolerant individual, if you know what I'm trying to be polite and not say.
Yeah.
Right? These guys, all kinds of, you know, there's steroid users who are in the Hall of Fame.
Right. Well, David Ortiz.
I've been there. I've been to Cooperstown. I've been to the Hall. It's amazing. And I think as much as I love that place, I think it's cheapening itself by not having Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
Well, I can tell you this, like I told you, if you and me vote, because he let me ride in his Rolls Royce when we was 19 years old, picked us off the street. So Rose is like, I wore that number for years. So with that said, I go and I agree. It's two-sided, like everything in life.
Well, thanks a lot, Don. We'll have you back on the show at some time down the road here. Well, thank you very much. You're so enlightening. You give us so much to think about baseball, and you know, but you know, you weren't just a baseball player. You know, you played football player. You're a heck of a, I don't know why you didn't. You could have got a scholarship to play football.
I sold stuff. I told people all the time. I said, hey, I was a salesman. I said, that's what baseball is, selling the dream. That's why I was able to do what I did. But hey, good seeing you, Nathan. Javier again. You guys take care.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate you, Don. Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Man.